win the hearts and minds of Uganda's poor urban youth ahead of the 2021 general elections. The incumbent, President Yoweri Museveni, appears to have abandoned his former NRM structures in favor of musicians Catherine Kusasira and Butcherman to counter Chagulanyi's movement. But will these new recruits bring in the votes, especially in Kampala, where Museveni has previously failed to win? To discuss this and more, we host Honorable Muhammad Nsereko, who is the Kampala Central Member of Parliament, Mr. Godfrey Nyakana, the NRM Vice President, Vice Chairperson for Kampala. We had earlier also invited the Honorable Betty Kamya, the Minister for Kampala, who is now not on this panel. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. You are on the spot, and we thank you for having responded to our invitation. A warm welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
I'm going to begin with you, Godfrey Nyakana, because you've been lately in the news, and we saw you respond to Ms. Catherine Kusasira because she had said that for people like you, if you really want to meet them and talk about party issues of NRM in Kampala, you need to write to her because now she's senior. And it looks like you never took that very well, and you responded. Has the appointment of Catherine Kusasira as presidential advisor been a problem to the NRM party in Kampala?
Well, we've had over 50 presidential advisors designated in many areas in Kampala, and fortunately most of them were coherent, could not issue those kind of derogatory remarks. And the only reason why we thought that it was really unfortunate for an individual to come and insult the community of Kampala was the only reason we got concerned. Otherwise, the designation of an individual by His Excellency the President is his right and purpose.
So when you say...
When we talk about someone coming back to the community and saying, I'm sorry about what I said, it means that we shall be civil enough to work together to ensure that we meet the expectations of our party and our government. If you come as an individual designated by the president and you start insulting the community, it doesn't really work well. It doesn't.
So how did you feel insulted by Catherine Kusasira?
Well, she said it's Konwa. Personally, I wouldn't really be bothered by that, but she said it's Konwa to the community of the NRM in Kampala.
Meaning what? Because that's
means a brick that is waste that can't be used anywhere because it didn't mature well when it was under the development.
So when you know very well that you're not what she said, why should you even bother so much to respond to things that are just into her own imagination that are not even true? You are an elected leader in Kampala Central. You are your bosses are your people.
Not Kampala Central, Kampala region.
Yes.
When people reflect on what she said, I have to submit to it because what she said was unfortunate, it was derogatory. Was uncalled for, it was an insult to the community, including ourselves, and the cadres that have been supporting the party for all these years. And we've been winning Kampala in 2011, we won Kampala 90%. We got about 180,000 votes for His Excellency the President. 2016, unfortunately, we were lost, but we also got 130,000 votes for the President. So if someone comes out and makes such a remark, does not really give us a good...
So if somebody has decided to just wallow in the mud, does that also require Godfrey Nyakana to jump in and do the same?
Well, if my community respond to it, I also have to respond to it. I must reflect that what has been done is wrong, and wrong is wrong, it's not who is doing it.
The Honorable Muhammad Nsereko, you were at one time representing the NRM party in Parliament, Kampala Central, as a member of Parliament. You are now independent, right? And I'm wondering, are these some of the reasons why you probably had to cross from being NRM diehard to now independent, maybe NRM leaning?
It is not one of the reasons. I actually feel shy to discuss about Catherine Kusasira's matter because she's a musician to me. To the president, she's the advisor to His Excellency the President. I only know her as a musician. So that's between her and her appointing authority. So if the president chooses her to be, she can advise the president, maybe on matters of music and matters of such matters. After all, the president also had some very good releases of songs like Mpenkoni. So maybe that is part of the team of advisors on
Do
music.
not forget that musicians are calling shots in this town.
I've not said no.
Yeah, because you seem to say he's a musician, but musicians seem to have had the momentum. Are the people with the momentum nowadays?
I will not discuss her capacities because she has her own appointing authority. I know her as an amazing musician.
Let me ask my producer, maybe to put this into perspective.
Maybe you can put that question to her.
All right, let me put this into, I just bring out what she said for the benefit of our listeners to know what we're talking about, and I'll also bring Mr. Godfrey Nyakana's response after that. let me, because that's it.
Kulembeze yanonze era kifo kyendiko kya waggulu nnyo oba baagala oba tebaagala balina okumpandikira nengenda nemba meeting nga bo kubanga kya waggulu omukulembeze saawe nayagala bantu bakozi tayagala bikonwa.
Outshine the master. How can you come and outshine the masters of Kampala? Never do that. It's a big danger to you to outshine the masters. Who the hell are you? Is it necessary for you to go and start insulting people that you assume are also beggars like you? No, then we're not beggars. We will do our work.
All right. So I think that was the issue, that whether you like or not, you've got to write to her, and that word that she used that I think has really made you go mad. But also your response, you seem to have a problem with somebody who comes and seems to be shining. What's wrong with the shining?
The issue is about the remarks she made, and I put effort on it when the community was very disturbed by it. And I don't think, like Honorable Nseko said, that she has the capacity even for me to think about her as an individual, in this category. But I had to also to defend my community and ensure that I respond to the remark and ensure that hopefully she could get some good mind and come back and say sorry about it.
Honorable Muhammad Nsereko, in this case, wouldn't it have been better for the NRM leaders in Kampala not even to make a response? Because at some point, there are some people who say it's better for somebody to keep quiet and everybody else keeps guessing what kind of person are you, instead of just talking, and then you raise all the doubt in people's mind that perhaps maybe something wrong with you.
You're putting me in a very tough situation because the NRM leadership in Kampala elected its leadership, and the leadership is before you here today. If he wants to respond on such a matter, he's here to make his response the way he wants to respond. For me, like I've said, and I want to reiterate, that Madame Catherine Kusasira, before me, both in perception, appearance, and performance, even if it's interaction, she's a very talented musician. She's an advisor to His Excellency the President. On what matters, I don't know, because this has not been formally written to the public service. So I cannot comment about her to that extent. I can see her passively, just like the others. If she has some assignments to do, that's her responsibility. But any matter to do with the national resistance movement, I'm not qualified to comment on it. Those that are qualified are here because these are the elected leaders of the national resistance movement in Kampala.
Honorable Muhammad Nsereko, there is an element of President Museveni disregarding structures, official structures, and doing the things. You have worked with him as an MP representing Kampala Central, so this is something you know, don't you?
Well, I know you want to twist the question to get an answer from me. And I can tell you, those that are elected in the structures of the NRM, by the way, without disregarding the NRM constitution, from my recollection, has objectives and missions that mean well. The issue is about implementation. The issue is about how you put up your soldiers and deploy them to achieve your duty. Now, if you're asking me from the legal perspective of any opinion leader about what is in the NRM, the constitution of the NRM, unless it was amended, by the time I used to subscribe to it, it used to, I think, have a clause that says that the president, the chairman of the party, can do anything that is for the benefit of the party, then he can inform the organs of the party later. However, I'm not much qualified than a member of the Central Executive Committee, who is before you here, which is the highest governing body of the National Resistance Movement, to comment on the matter.
The Central Executive Committee member,
the answer is,
you should be aware.
The answer is pass.
Yeah, but really, this is President Museveni's modus operandi. That's how he operates. So you shouldn't be shocked.
But it is right. Who is shocked? I'm not shocked about it. It's nothing new about it. We were talking about an individual element that comes and makes wrong connotations on the community of Kampala. That's all we were talking about. I'm not talking about His Excellency the President. He has his right to designate people regardless of their background. And if they come in and they work with us, we have no problem.
Where is your political clout in Kampala in terms of winning votes? Because perennially we have seen the opposition beating you.
No.
Apart from that time, the other day when Muhammad Nsereko was in Kampala Central, maybe some years later.
Himself.
Currently. Yes, yeah, but that's
currently,
you are for the Central region.
Currently,
yes.
You need to look at the statistics of Kampala. In 2011, we won Kampala 90%. In 2016, we lost some average, but still, if you go
you made sure Kampala did not vote anyway.
Listen to me, sir. The divisions, the 5 divisions, 70% is NRM. The current elections we had for LC1, 85% in Kampala is NRM. So it's, I think, unfortunate for someone to say that we lost Kampala.
The members of parliament?
But they don't have the numbers. It's all about numbers. The members of parliament, of course, some are independent, some are other political party. But in numbers, we still have better numbers, and we can still do much better than any other party. Because go to the village. If someone didn't win the village, how did they win the other positions? So there are many other factors, but the records, on paper reflect that NRM is winning in Kampala.
For you to have let a man like him, go independent, yet he was your winning formula, that was an error of judgment. You should have captured people like those who are able to come in the opposition hotbed and even get elected.
He was a good factor. Mr. Nsereko was one of my colleagues from the inception time, and we were working together. And for other reasons he might have had, he managed to leave the party. But I don't think that it is true for you to say that we lost Kampala, even in the past elections, because if you go through the records of Kampala, if you go to the divisions, we have more numbers than any other party.
But when I look at the members of parliament represented in Kampala, that's not the case. In fact, including the member who is right here.
Yeah, but it's about
the
numbers.
constituency where we are seated right now.
Numbers do not lie, brother. When you have more numbers in political areas like
you need to ask that Hillary Clinton,
councillors, we have more numbers. So if we have those numbers, we have some leverage, because the vote comes from the community.
Yeah, but you know where decisions are made. You know where policies are made. You know where the laws are made. You have to have more people there in Kampala.
True.
In those areas.
True.
If you want to talk about numbers,
True.
for example,
Yeah.
Hillary Clinton had 3 million more voters than Trump, but she's not in one. They have a different electoral system. But I want to tell you, there are some areas you may have fewer people, but the decision making is done right there. But let me come to Honorable Muhammad Nsereko. He's saying the NRM is the winning formula in Kampala, and he's giving the numbers. Why did you have to leave the winning formula?
Now, listen, this is an amazing question. The people of Kampala are heavily independent in the way they make decisions. The people of Kampala, if you stand with them, they'll vote for you even if you're NRM and even if you're not. And Comrade Nyakana knows it very well, that he has ever stood as independent and the people voted for him.
Not independent.
No, before, when we were still in the movement system.
Yes.
There were preferred candidates for the movement card, and he really garnered his votes. So that's a reflection that there is that individual support that a candidate carries, and there is that collective effort that comes along when you have an organization. Now, this comes to what we call electioneering, strategy, tactics, and how you evolve. Now, you use a SWOT analysis against yourself. Where are your strengths? Where are your weaknesses, opportunities, tasks? Then, what are the challenges ahead of you? You can look at Kamarak, then you say, okay, for example, where does Kamara want to go and stand? Maybe he wants to go and stand in, let's say, Fort Portal municipality.
Mwenge South, by the way.
Okay, Mwenge South.
Okay.
Then you look at your chances of coming out. Are you coming out stronger within the party or as independent? And what are the challenges for you to surmount and serve your people genuinely? So, if you put service above self, then you choose a given path. Then if you want to go collectively, then if you're frustrated, in politics, you must be dynamic. And you see it in Kenya. You see it everywhere. Today, Chairman Nyakana, who is the vice chairperson of the NRM, tomorrow, 5 years or whatever down the road, can be a vice chairman of another party in government. Because his ideas are not dead just because he's in the NRM.
So
the issue
was your movement based on frustration?
Listen, the issue should be giving people the right to breathe within the party. And this is what we're asking for, and we're termed as rebels. You see, when you talk about some issues and you're looked at as an outcast, then it creates rejection.
So
for example, when you remember...
your exit was based on frustration.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There is no doubt about that. When we came out and spoke about the power issue, the oil issue, and all issues have come to pass. Mabida trying to scrap bail and issues of human rights, disenfranchising the people of Kampala, including himself. He was a leader, drawing all their powers away and centralizing them to the executive director. These are matters we talked about. And these are matters that came back to bite in 2016. Therefore, history will absolve us that we came out on the right side of the people, we spoke for them, we stood with them, we have continued to stand with them on certain matters. Not that every single matter has been carried, but we can say 90% of the matters we talked about, history will absolve us. And indeed, we stood up for the democratic values. Some members within the SEC that time, unfortunately I think he was not part of it, found it fit that the best thing they should do in order to tame Parliament was our expulsion, you remember? And we battled this case until the Supreme Court, and they wanted to use, I think, Article 83, about how a member of Parliament loses his seat. Indeed, with the wise ruling of the Speaker and the ruling of the Supreme Court, now there is independence and sanity in Parliament, that you can go against the whims of the party and stand by your idea and retain your seat. However, if that had carried the day, that when you defy your party, you automatically leave Parliament, then you would not even have seen this semblance of independence within the Parliament of Uganda. But what I can say, like I've always said, the NRM party is not a bad party. Not at all. And I've already told it to people. The issue is that members within have just buried the head below the sun to say, you know what, I don't have to talk about this.
It's the members that make the party.
I'm telling you, there are some members within the party that say, you know what, it's better not to say X, Y, and Z because you might not appease the head of state. For me, I think what will make this party grow is members of the NRM coming out to say, you know, yes, we love you, Your Excellency, but this is what we should try to stand for, a peaceful transition, a day when you can see that one of the members of the SEC, let's say, even if it's Honorable Godfrey Nyakana, even if it's Honorable Kadaga, even if it's Honorable Otafire, saying that now power has transferred from him to the other. Because Honorable Godfrey Nyakana, as you see, may have amazing ideas. But if you don't give him chance to perform, then you're stifling the growth of even the party. Now, that is what is happening. Yes, they have an amazing scorer in form of Genome 7. And that is what they have been prophesying. But we are saying that best scorer can groom another amazing scorer to take this party forward. So Ugandans now are trying to manifest to them that at whatever cost they want change. Because even within the party, even at this, at the level of the city, we are talking about why we lost the city towards 2016. He stood out many, many times. Mm-hmm. He went even before the Commission of Inquiry and told them what you're doing is not right. And they did not, he was an elected member. He was the chairperson of the NRM. I'm telling you, within the district, he was never heard. And listen, all of us have our different levels of patience. For me, at that nature, I'm okay. I can walk out. Not that my party was bad, but if you're not willing to listen to us, no single organization will be tenable. Today, what happened? When some people found that there was a lot of intolerance within the FDC, what do you have today? What do you have? You have the ANT. This happens in all organizations. Therefore, what am I trying to tell you? There is no organization that is bad, because no single organization wishes Ugandans bad. But the issue is exchange of ideas freely. If there is that avenue. Okay. Secondly, switch of leaders momentarily. Look at the Chama cha Mapinduzi. Not that it has done excellently well, but there is a transition.
A renewal of sorts.
Every 10 years from Jakaya Kikwete, there is a different policy. Same party, Magufuli is different.
Let me put this to Honorable Godfrey Nyakana. In 2021, if President Museveni decides to get on the ballot, he will extend his reign to 40 years. 40 years. But when I look at people who have been able to rule in the different nations in Africa for over 30 years, can give you names: Mobutu, Mugabe, Mubarak, Bashir and Bokassa. After they have left, you find their countries, people are in pain and countries in tatters. You are the young leaders. You sit at the Central Executive Committee of the party. Do these things concern you? That almost half a century later, you still have the same man?
I don't think that in this activity we have right now, I have the moral authority to discuss that. And
this is after
if it was relevant and I'd known before coming here, I would come with better information. I don't think that I would make any comment.
Honorable Godfrey Nyakana, I'm actually asking for giving you examples of what has happened in Africa where leaders have extended their reign over 30 years into 40. I've given you names of Mobutu, Mubarak, Mugabe, Bashir and Bokassa.
I've been around, and I'm very, very knowledgeable about the history of Africa and the world over. But I didn't think that, I don't think that it's right for me to...
You think Uganda is immune to these kind of problems?
Well, we have a democratic process, and we go through the process in the designated time. And when the laws are changed by the Parliament, we follow those laws.
Honorable Nyakana, Mubarak democratic credentials was so much higher than what NRM could even possibly to dream to get. He was scoring in the 90s, so is Bashir.
Well, that is subjective, you know. Like I said, I think everyone has their right in their own way.
Let me bring this closer to you, because when you met at Para, March on Falls or Para, as a Central Executive Committee, you decided to say maybe to ring-fence the candidature of President Museveni in 2021. Yet we have people like you and many others who also could have the capacity to lead. But the entire young generation of 50 and below decided to just count themselves out, give yourself a vote of no confidence, and said, no, is that even fair to yourself?
Actually, that is not true, because when we make a decision on some matter, there are also other levels, like there's the DEC, there is the National Conference.
Honorable Nyakana, I'm only asking about the decision where you were. You can leave others. Where you sat, the meeting, the Central Executive Committee.
We made a decision, and it was a very proper decision for us. And other people can have other ideas, but I think the majority of the ruling party will have the same. To
let a man who had decided to say, I want to go beyond that because it is not possible, because it is so scientific, because at that time somebody is weak. And at that time, if you want better people, better go look for in this kind of age bracket, not beyond. And, and we are inclined to believe him because he has done it for 30 years. He understands the rough and tumble of a presidency.
Things were passed legally, and they are normal. They're in the laws of Uganda. And I think if anyone had something against it, they would come up and make a decision or take to court. But we took that decision because we think that our president has done some good work for this country. Oh, okay. And I think he's still one of the good mindsets we have. And I think he can still progress this country to another level. And this is my opinion and the opinion of some of the SEC members. The ones that think differently can also think differently and take their decision as they wish, because it's a democratic country and we go through these processes. And we'll have primaries for the party, and things will continue democratically.
Okay, before we go to break, Honorable Muhammad Nsereko, there's no doubt today that the Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi is the man with the momentum, in my view, especially here in Kampala and quite in other areas in the country. You only need to bring him to any part of any town in Uganda. In 5 to 10 minutes, you'll have a mammoth gathering come to him because probably he speaks the language of the people who he say are oppressed, or he understands them better. Are we likely to see the likes of you join the People Power movement?
I've already said that we are People Power. Myself,
yeah, but submissive to the leadership of the Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi.
I don't know of any leadership of the People Power as yet. What I know is when we sit down as a united force of change, Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi alone cannot go it and finish it. If we have Dr. Besigye, General Muntu, myself, Elias Lukwago, with a united force of the People Power, even if it's Honorable Kyagulanyi at the forefront, we shall back him.
Yeah, what I'm asking you, Honorable Nsereko, is that he has come out and spoken with a lot of clarity that he's going to contest come 2021.
Yes.
And he has started, the People Power movement is, associated with him because he started and people believe in him. So you are the other leaders in Kampala. So I was asking whether in 2021 we can see a Muhammad Nsereko who is submissive to the leadership of People Power under the leadership of Bobi Wine.
I've never been submissive to anyone. That's an understatement to me. But if you say who can stand shoulder
the leadership
by shoulder, because when I'm submissive, it's like we're a cult. I cannot be submissive to an individual. That one I refused. So, but what I can tell you is that I can pledge that I can stand shoulder to shoulder with the Honorable Kyagulanyi for a same cause, even if he's leading the cause or any other person. So, if he comes out and we speak and we agree on the modus operandi, the idea is amazing. We've worked together before. We've grown up together. We are friends, indeed. And we can achieve this goal. But we still need to be a united force. The effort of Dr. Besigye, please quote me very well. The effort of General Muntu, the effort of Comrade Mao, every single person, every single party must come together in order to actualize this cause. And I can tell you and give you an assurance that if it's my comrade Kyagulanyi who is at the forefront and for us to stand shoulder to shoulder with him, I am there for him 100%, and I'll give him my commitment to achieve that. So are you talking about the possibility? It is highly possible. Will I do it? I will do it at an opportune time. We must define the strategy. We must define the tactics. We must define what we are going to do for the
Are
team.
you already working
That's
together?
it. Working together for...
With him now?
No, not as per now. I can tell you, because I'm very honest. We are not working together. We are not having a common strategy. We are not having a common basket of tactics. But if he reaches out and he gives me...
So you want him to reach out, or you would want to reach him?
We can, either way. Either way. It's underway. We've been talking, but we are not working together. But there is a huge possibility that if we work together with a common strategy, because I want us to come here and you pose to me a question. You as people power, what is your health plan? And I'm not stammering, so that we sing the same song on every platform. That our health plan, I want Bobby Wine to say the same, that we believe in a health care that is universal to every single Ugandan and that is achievable, that is at a low cost. We believe in increasing the wages of doctors up to this amount. We believe in access to health care up to this extent. A, B, C, D, and E. That is common goal and common strategy. Do we all believe in change? Yes. Can we achieve it? Yes. How do we achieve it? The issue is not the driver.
Yeah, but that has, that has to be in a form of manifesto.
Yes, yes.
His contract with the people of Uganda will,
yes.
will have to be...
And that will mean it's not an individual contract. It is a collective contract. Do you know why people are grappling with the issue of the NRM? Because when you go and sit there and say, someone tells you, do you know where you came from? The Bush War syndrome. No, we are the Bush War generals. It is X, Y, and Z. And that's what I've seen you on interviews asking them, why, what is all about this syndrome? So I believe that with my comrade, we can work together. We can achieve a lot. We need collective effort, synchronized tactics, and a common strategy.
Okay,
so
gentlemen.
Without leaving out any single person, because the person you want to wrestle is not a single person. Mere sloganeering will not help us achieve anything. And these are the words that can come from only a comrade who doesn't want likes and praises and songs, who has engaged the lion. The lion is in the cage. We're bickering here. And after that, we go and face off with the lion. Will not help us.
All right, okay.
The best thing we can do...
That we have a lion of the jobless generation. We'll take a break. When we come back, I want to...
The best thing we can do with our comrades, it is to come up with joint efforts, even when they decide that Comrade Kyagulanyi is the one to take the forefront. I don't need a title. I don't need anything. I will back him 120%.
Gentlemen, we're going to take a break. And when you talked about the lion, I can see the lion that is tearing us apart. Could be the lion of poverty, the lion of insecurity, and the lion of a jobless generation. What kind of strategy would you have from the independent perspective, or even the NRM, to tackle some kind of these challenges that we do face today? We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching On the Spot. My name is Patrick Kamara, and my guests tonight are Honorable Muhammad Nsereko, Member of Parliament representing Kampala Central, and we have Honorable Godfrey Nyakana, who is the member of the Central Executive Committee of the NRM Party. Honorable Godfrey Nyakana, one thing I observe that we have a big jobless generation in our country, and if you don't find employment for these people, if you don't give them skills, if you do not add value to them, then really we are facing a demographic catastrophe. People at one point, 10, 15 years from now, we can find ourselves in real big trouble. What are the solutions, or the possible solutions?
There are already good solutions taking place. His Excellency and the leaders in Kampala, across the country, have already started skilling the communities. And recently we had more skilling done across Kampala, and we had a big meeting at Kololo airstrip, and we were talking about those issues, and it's already happening. We have also circles We have different organizations that are trying to help the young people to get employed, to be innovative as young people, to make sure that they're productive. So things are moving already.
So what are they producing now? For those who have been trained, what are we producing in Kampala?
They're producing like bread, they produce food stuff, they produce clothes, they produce general issues that are consumed by the community and the population, the requirements.
Where you are in your constituency, do you get a sense of people who feel excluded from the economy, who feel marginalized, and sometimes feel like they're not, nobody's paying attention to them for real?
Well, I don't think it's right to say nobody's paying attention. There might be good numbers, but and that role is not for only the ruling parties, for all the leaders in Uganda and Kampala. But we've done some work, and I'm glad that His Excellency put up some good program that is skilling the young people and creating employment for them.
So what explains young people who seem to be following the people power movement in such big numbers, almost cultic kind of following, yet these are supposed to be people who are in your constituency and people who are looking at you as their leader?
I think that statement is subjective, because it is not true that all the numbers we have in the communities are running behind the people power. We have good numbers. We have had huge meetings like last year at the end of the year when I was having my end of the year NRM meeting and stuff. We had over 5,000 people, small area, and we have people over the Kampala area. We have structures all over. We have leaders all over. So we have some good numbers. And the critical thing that also government has done is to skill them, train them, to get them hands-on activities that can bring them some cash flow. So the image that you
if you want to know the NRM numbers and to know your strength and gauge the strength of those who are opposed to you, you just have to let the man, Bobby Wine, do his music in Busabala, let him address his people in Kololo, let him come to wherever he wants. Then, sir, Honorable Godfrey Nyakana, you can know that your numbers and his numbers are not comparable because you'll be dwarfed.
Well, let me tell you something, sir. I think even myself, individually, I can feel National Stadium. I can feel any Lugogo cricket oval. Me as a person alone, as an NRM leader. So if I can do that as an NRM leader, me as a person, then if the president is coming around for anything, he will have 5 times more than me. So the issue is about strategy. The issue is about approach. The issue is about blending with the environment. We have people all over the community. We have leaders all over the community. Many are willing to come and stand for positions. And those same positions they stand for will give us leverage as a party.
I absolutely agree that you can have those crowds. You can, but what I also know, you'll bust them in. You'll give them incentives, and you will move around with the public address system, reminding them where they are. Perhaps you even promise to give them a transport to the fund. After all, when the head of state was doing a poverty eradication campaign, and the people were also endorsing him for the sole candidate 2021, which also looked like a political rally at every place he went, people were given a transport fund of 300,000. In a country where people, 91% of the people are poor, and you're giving 300,000 shillings to somebody to come to your rally, you're supposed even to teach them to make money, but you pay the money anyway, then who wouldn't come?
That is a great assumption. If there's a truck coming from Wakiso and you can give some support to it to get some fuel, there's nothing wrong with it. I don't think the factors that you're talking about are critical factors and rightful factors. There are many, many subjective factors you've talked about, and I don't think they will mean a lot for me. I will go back and assess, depending on what also you've said, because I've been around Kampala, I've been in leadership since 2001. I know the system of Kampala, I know the challenges of Kampala, I know the requirements of Kampala, I know where we have challenges, I know where we don't have challenges. I know where we can put emphasis and effort. I know that we have women, for example, we have youth also. The same youth that you see running around behind Bobby Wine, you'll be amazed that you find them in Kamwatcha voting for the ruling party, for the party members. So you don't take things for granted. NRM is a ruling party, he's on the ground, and we are on the ground. And we as a Kampala leaders, we are exceptional leaders.
Yeah, but of course they can come.
Blend,
yes,
blend.
before I come to
For example,
Honorable Muhammad Nsereko, they can come. They can come to you.
Brother,
they can go.
The exceptional thing about
the young people who are poor.
I want to listen to me for a minute. The exceptional leaders of Kampala work together. We work together, regardless.
You get a sense that there could be people who will go to Honorable Bobby Wine or even Dr. Kizza Besigye because that's where they truly believe, that's where they belong. But tomorrow they can come to you because that's where they truly believe, that's where they can eat from.
Those are individuals.
One Wendy.
Even when even when Jesus was around, there were some spoilers. Spoilers will always arrive everywhere across the country.
Okay.
But for us as Kampala, we're a strong group, strong team, and there's no any other town in Uganda that gives President Museveni 130,000 votes or even 180,000 votes. So don't take Kampala for granted. We are there, we are aware, we are cautious, and we are being strategic, doing our part. Of course, we are getting some little distractions from other people, but still as a party, as structures, as leaders, we are good to go.
So, Honorable Muhammad Nsereko, you are a member of parliament, you appropriate money because that's where the laws are made. When money is generated, when the Minister of Finance makes their budget proposals, they bring to you as members of parliament so that you can choose where the money goes. But sometimes as a parliament, do you find out whether the money that has been given to some areas to cause development has been fully utilized? Because we seem not to do that, and that is your oversight role as members of parliament.
We do after the Auditor General has presented a report. We have through our committees, because we have the Public Accounts Committee, we have the Local Government Accounts Committee, we have the COSASA.
But you can also move out to inspect.
You don't do it that way. I mean, unfortunately, in government you follow procedures. I mean, they are working, they are contractors on site. You don't just walk and tell them how many spades did you buy. Because you must be briefed with facts before you. And that's the way every government in the world works, unless it's a dictatorship. So
I've seen your colleagues on moving in different parts of whatever.
You can do
what. So the oversight role only waits for the Auditor General's report?
That should be your fund, because all your
is that it only ends there?
Then where do you take your recommendations? It's based on that, and that's the parliamentary system. Now, in the other ways of practice, it's through presenting various petitions and issues of national concerns or questions to the ministers, depending on the ground or on the situation on ground. For example, if there have been various arrests of people, you know, recklessly, then you address the issue through the Right Honourable Speaker to the Minister of Internal Affairs. That is on, you know, when you come into plenary, or when they are before you in a particular committee. For example, in the Defence and Internal Affairs Committee, then you can address that matter. So that is the way you do your oversight role.
Then I'm also questioning that on how you have been able
on practical monitoring. You're there in the community because you get feedback. Like yesterday, I was told there are some people in Kisenyi whose merchandise was picked up, and we reacted swiftly, and their merchandise has been given back to them. Now, that is as a result of your interpersonal relations with those within authority. You can't work as an island. It's impossible.
We have witnessed the human rights violations. Sometimes even members of the police force and the military beating up people, doing things that are quite unbecoming. And we're expecting the parliament, including people like you, to stand out and make sure some of these things can stop, because in a way you can refuse to approve a budget or pass a budget because that's where you have some kind of leverage.
Amazing. It's very unfortunate that such issues are there, you know, like stopping our comrade Bobby Wine from performing, the issue of Comrade Besigye, how he was, you know, manhandled, and so they are very unfortunate. And you know, they are disincentive for tourists to come into our country, but also foreign investors that witness that are not comfortable to come and invest with us. Now, that, you know, as a parliament, we've come out to condemn on various matters. But the responsibility to enforce must be based on laws. Now, we've enacted laws that have been approved by Parliament through the processes. We've processed laws and it has been assented on by the President. We are waiting for that law to be gazetted, whereby it is the responsibility, it is individual responsibility for any person who is wearing our uniform, whether it's an army officer or a police officer, who abuses rights of an individual, to be held strictly liable, individually liable. Because previously,
culpability.
you see, previously it was vicarious liability, that a police officer goes out, brutalizes you, and you sue the Attorney General, and you know you're compensated by the state. Now it's going to be quite different, that you'll be held individually liable for the omissions, mainly based on human rights abuse. For example, if you detain someone beyond the constitutional time, we must look for the officer in charge. How is it that under your jurisdiction, as you, the OC of this station, someone was detained
beyond 24 hours?
Beyond 24 hours. Two, how did you detain people in ungazetted centers? Because all detention centers must be gazetted. Now, at least Parliament has gone a long way through the Human Rights Committee. You remember the issue of Nalufenya. We did something. Nalufenya was closed. We are coming a long way. Just to know that it won't come overnight. But every situation that we process gives us a different step towards the great direction. And we that are coming up as the wide opposition, no matter who our leader will be, and I repeat this, like I tell you, these are the things we need to address so that we speak the same voice wherever we go. That, you know what, when you ask me the same thing, what will your government do if you take charge? And we will tell you, we will not accept that people can be held incommunicado, in ungazetted detention centers. People should be tortured. There shall be freedom for people to demonstrate, but in gazetted areas, and the laws shall be followed. There shall be no extortion. There shall be no corruption. And if we can all speak in this voice, what an amazing opposition brand that we can sell out as a united force. And this is what I'm saying. It's not only us saying this, they have failed to do this. What shall we do? You understand what I'm saying? So, as a united opposition, if we can come out and say, on matters of human rights, this is what we stand for. There is no torture of victims. There is no illegal detention. You understand?
Yeah, but
there is no promotion of individuals that have tortured people, and they cannot serve anywhere for the civil service of this country.
Okay, Honorable Robert Nyakana would want to respond.
Okay, because there's some areas where people have not been given the right to do what they're supposed to do, because all these laws were made by Parliament, that if you want to execute a certain activity, you should get some consent from the system or the police to make sure that things are done properly. So some of the people who have been doing these activities do not request for consent from police. They want to do it on their own and without the knowledge of police. And I think some of them might have had challenges because of that factor. Although also there are other factors that are very disturbing, especially in Kampala, where you see police beating up people, police taking people's products in the communities. I think that is very, very unfortunate. And I think, like he said, the parliament, the government should always come out, because you have people losing their products.
Honorable Nyakana, you cannot just be like the rest of us trying to say, I think that's unfortunate, and you agonize, yet you are sitting at the top level of the Central Executive Committee. This is where things can be discussed. This is where you can even condemn the brutality and what you've been able to see, so that you can move as a government and change things for better. You cannot just be with us say, oh, that's unfortunate. No, you've got to do
Yeah,
something
but
because you're a leader at the highest level of the party.
When we have a meeting of the kind, I will definitely inform the system what is happening in Kampala. I think we should be having a meeting soon because we haven't really had a SEC meeting for quite some time. So we need to
so
look at those issues.
you have also seen the inefficiency, the inadequacies, the brutality, and the harassment of people. That you agree?
100%, because those are our people. They're not the people of an individual. They're our people. So what happened is very wrong. I saw something at Seka. I saw something in Chisenyi. I saw something in many communities where they were beating up people, taking their products from their shops and stuff. And there was no any formal process. Everything was informal. They were not informing us why they were
just for information.
But then,
just a second,
if for a party in leadership, that sort of superintend, sees this thing happen and they are not doing anything, and you come here as a member of the Central Executive Committee, lament with us, really, in other places.
I don't lament. I'm talking facts.
Yes,
These are facts.
Yes, but when you cannot do anything about them...
I'm not a police officer. I'm not a soldier. I'm not a minister. My role is different from that. So I can come in as an individual, but... realistically, the people who should be implementing.
All right, before I come, you just said that sometimes members of the opposition also maybe do things that are not right, and then they can invite the wrath of the police. I just want to let you know that there's evidence that FDC hired that place outside the Namboole Stadium. They even had receipts of having paid. They gathered themselves there. When they went to the place that had been, they had booked, they found police. And what they do, they come back because they said, okay, if you have closed us there, let us go to our headquarters. And then mayhem breaks loose.
But
everything had to go bananas because you could not...
Renting is not enough. Because if you're going to gather a number of people in one area, they must have some consent and clearance from some organization around that area. You cannot just come and mobilize 1,000 people without knowledge of the police. Even me as a Central Executive Committee member, if I'm making a meeting at my office in industrial area, I must inform Ginger Road that I'm doing this and this, and then they will write back and say it is okay. Then also they'll give me some officers to help the security and staff. So it's not a must that you can just go.
Honorable Nyakana, are people who had written to police. Here are people who had hired that place and paid their money. Here are people who went and found that the place had been cordoned off. And so they have nothing to do, but they have their own place of abode or a place of their headquarters, and they say to go, okay, if you have blocked us here, let's go to our place.
But if they have consent from the police, I think it is okay. Then police is culpable.
There you go. So that's why I tell you that it should be the laws to be biting, because the laws are already in place. Of course, you remember the intention of having brought the Public Order and Management Act, and we opposed it vehemently. We told you cannot curtail the rights and freedoms of individuals, and the freedoms of expression are important. Look at the mayhem in Makerere University. I mean, these young college university students have the right to stand up and say, listen, 15% increment per annum is very high. Just because our parents don't earn this. They are an actual reflection of what their parents earn. These are sons and daughters of civil servants whose wages have never been increased for the last 20 years. And you're telling them that every single year they are going to have an increment of 15%. That is more than 200,000 shillings. So, assuming a humble teacher in a government school earning 500,000 shillings, educating 3 children at private sponsorship at the university, does not have an increment in the next 5 years, and has to bear with an increment of tuition for their child, the pain and anguish these children go through, photocopying, research, and when people are going, for example, for courseworks and everything, when these children come out to express their dissatisfaction, they are whipped, they are flogged, they are annihilated, they are humiliated. I mean, they are treated like they are not the future leaders and citizens of this nation.
This is why I suppose
Therefore,
a person like you,
just
who,
a second,
yes.
just a second. Therefore, one, not only should there be individual culpability by the individual officers who did that or who performed such acts, but also when the caucus went to sit yesterday, it is very appalling that it came back and it's trying to speak in tongues. And this reminds me the good old days when we were there and you would say no. Like we said to Mavida. Unfortunately, you cannot be there. But the amazing thing was always going there and saying, no, we shall not stand by this. And you come on the floor of the House and then you object to it. Because we need, and that's why I call upon very many comrades who are within the NRA.
Okay, you're talking about the...
Just like many of you,
just a moment.
just a second, stood out during the amendment of the Constitution. And we recognize that. Please do the same on the increment of tuition for these young children. Because if we do not invest in quality education, but also affordable for these young children, then the rate of unemployment, the rate of dissatisfaction that we shall have outside there in the future, we might not be able to accommodate.
Maybe the people advising the president and those sitting in cabinet and maybe members of parliament on his side have not been so much helpful. And I'm saying this because I think, let me play this quote from the Honorable Betty Kamya. I think she didn't have very good, kind words for fellow cabinet members, and this is what she thought about fellow colleagues in parliament. I suppose my producer has that clip.
We're in cabinet, I think he's more informed than all of us put together, many times, on each subject, on each topic. He's a very special person. He's highly informed, he's highly tolerant, he's highly intelligent, and with a lot of stamina. Give it to him. As long as God has given President Museveni the strength to lead this country, he should continue.
Okay, I think that was quite way back when Honorable Betty Kamya was pitching in for the president to and the party to remove the age limit, and he really gave a vote of no confidence to the entire cabinet and probably the entire caucus. And made our president look like superhuman.
Also, genuinely, I visited
what we call being submissive.
I visited Makerere University, and I also had a number of people from Makerere University kids. They came to my office. We had a discussion about their issues, and their issues about an issue of interaction, talking, looking for solutions, even if they were not willing to submit to what the university was submitting. They should have had some meeting together and relate and look for solutions instead of using those kind of methods where you come and use force and stuff. I had a very good meeting with them for like 2-3 hours, and we were looking for solutions also to see how we can help the community of Makerere University, because kids are like, we have lost hope. They're being beaten up like nothing. They don't have any more rights, and we think the government should wake up on it and ensure that they look for solutions for it. And also the costs that they were talking about, I was surprised that it was passed, but I thought we'd have some ways of mitigating that kind of approach and ensure that the kids can still go to school, and we look for solutions as a country, because our role as leaders across the board is to look for solutions.
All right. Honorable Nyakana, Honorable Muhammad Nsereko, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, I'll be opening the lines so that you two can be a part of this discussion. You'll see the numbers on your screen. Please do call us and tell us what you think about the politics in Kampala and how the opposition is working within itself and the bickering we have seen lately in the NRM party. What could be the medicine for such problems to solve them so that we can have healthy competition and movement as a country as we even move towards 2021 general elections. We'll be right back. Watching On the Spot, my name is Patrick Amara. My guest tonight are Honorable Muhammad Nsereko, who's the MP for Kampala Central, and Honorable Godfrey Nyakana, who's the member of the Central Executive Committee of the NRM party. You know, hearing you, Honorable Muhammad Nsereko, speak, especially the pain that you have for the beating that happened at Makerere and other things that have been happening in our country, I cannot help but wonder, why is it that people like you have not decided to take up the mantle of leadership? And I'm saying this because when we look back, listen, when we look back, Honorable Muhammad Nsereko, in the 60s, the people who tried to liberate Uganda were almost like age mates. Prime Minister Bote was maybe around 38. The Kabaka of Buganda was equally young. People like Chiwanuka was your age. Even if we come towards 1981, when President Museveni decided to go to the bush, was your age. So what's wrong with this generation? Why can't they just take up the leadership? I know you aspired to lead in Parliament, and that was a big fight that you did. But are you going to take this a notch higher at one point?
I love, me alone, I cannot do it. And I would like to address the country on this. Alone, I cannot do it. With the collective effort of yourself, himself, everyone, with a defined program and a roadmap for our country, with a shared vision and a strategy, we all can achieve.
But there exists an ambition in you to lead.
I know you want something, but let me tell you how we must arrive to it. Does that ambition exist? It exists in all of us. Are there grounds for us to achieve this? Yes, the grounds are there. Is the timing right? It's not yet the timing. The reason is we must create, the shared vision can be there, but the momentum together, working together. So if one of our comrades, like Kyagulanyi does come out, let's sit, share the vision, he can take the mantle. Comrade Besigye, let's be complementary. And I still say complementary. You had Honorable Betty Kamya being submissive. I want us to share a platform where Comrade Kamara stands up and he says, this is what we agreed. And his word is respected because there is a social contract. Where Comrade Nyakana says, no, when we are talking about matters to do with the city, this is the roadmap. This is this was our manifesto to the people, that as regards unemployment, we shall solve it this way, by trying to give people skills, creating an education that is not only, theoretic, but practical, in order to address the needs of the day. These are some of the important things. 2, lowering interest rates so that people can access cheap capital. Reduction on taxes so that we can boost production. Having fraternal friendship around our borders so that what we produce can be consumed by our neighbors. That is opening up markets. Now, this is a vision we can all share. This is something we can all subscribe to. Whether it's an older person leading us or a younger person like you, Honorable Nyakana, Honorable Kyagulanyi, Honorable Muntu, or Honorable Besigye, the issue is how we shall achieve the vision so that we don't disappoint.
You know,
the
I
people.
bring that to your attention
I know,
because I just recall
Ju-
a couple of years ago, only
just a
2,
second.
3 years ago,
Just a second.
you aspired to lead that parliament.
We will.
You garnered quite a number of votes.
We will.
So that is the third most important office in hierarchy in the
That
country.
is true.
So really, I looked at you as somebody who maybe 2 steps to the topmost because you showed that you could do something.
Comrade Kamara, we shall get there when we all agree. We are not closing the door. All options are on table, but when we all agree, because me as an individual, I can only be a torchbearer, but the vision must be shared so that when the torchbearer ceases to move, or ceases to notch the light where he has to put it, then you can hold me to account, or we can hold you to account. A team, just a second, a team built on one person like Maradona, and you loved him so much, can win a few trophies, but cannot last long.
I think life.
Using the example of Maradona, you've been able in Kampala to win some battles, and you've been elected twice. You are the real Kampala's political Maradona. But you could do much better.
But the issue is
there's a problem with Uganda's generation 50 and below. You know,
you want to say
UB50s. There's something wrong with the UB50s.
Listen,
Ugandans below 50.
Comrade
Comrade
Kamara wants me to say yes, I can. Indeed, yes, we can. Yes, we can. Me as an individual, I cannot make it without your support. Can I run for the highest office? Yes. Can I win it? Yes. Can I win it alone? Absolutely no.
But life can never be an analogy.
Well, the thing is, if you think that the ground is going to get leveled for the opposition leaders because it is not leveled, I have news for you. It will never get leveled.
No, you have to force your way. And really, you know, you are an amazing person. Of course, there must be resistance at every stage. Your role as someone driving through this resistance, you're the pilot. You're meeting turbulence. What is your role?
Why are people timid? Why are politicians want to go a little higher?
We are not timid to say that we can run for presidents, and I can repeat it here. Every Ugandan, including myself, including him, but I'll speak for myself now since the question was posed to me, can run for presidents. I can. I have all the credentials that it takes to run to be the president of this nation. But we need a shared vision together. I want to run with you as you compliment me, not you being submissive to me, because then we shall not achieve. We shall be, you know what the Baganda say, Okoza no yanika muchi.
All right, I'm going to open the lines unless
we'll be washing the white linen.
Godfrey, sorry, Honorable Godfrey.
And then
let me get something from Honorable Godfrey Nyakana
I
before I
want to
continue.
inform the people in Uganda. Currently, the ruling party is a strong party and has a good foundation, has done great work for this country, has provided the Nserikos, Mr. Kamaras, across the country. And I think I don't see any party or any even effort that can be put together to curtail the NRM, the ruling party. Because we have all the factors, the people, the numbers mentioning. People have seen hope and faith. They have seen peace in the country. When I used to go to Hoima long time ago, it was a very difficult thing when I was a young kid. Now it takes 2 hours to Hoima. It takes 2 hours to Mbale. So there are many factors that have changed in this country, and we should be appreciative.
It's not about we don't disagree.
Maybe I can remind Comrade
That's where we ought to be.
His worship.
If I may,
when Honorable Zilitwaula was there, there are some people who used to think that without Honorable Zilitwaula, Kampala Central could not move on. I saw the Honorable Nyakana come, sweep over Kampala Central, did amazing things, and did a lot for Kampala. Yes, I know the movement is strong, the movement has done a lot, but Uganda is bigger than the NRM. And I believe, even when there is change within the NRM, and he comfortably knows this, the NRM can deliver. But what we are saying even in a country where there is change, we are not saying movement people shall be evicted from this nation. Even when there is change at the helm of the leadership with a different party, people of the movement shall be allowed to come and serve.
I understand.
Therefore, we cannot say that it's only the NRM that is the only party
For now.
that can
I'm going to
steer
open the
this country
lines
to success.
and I get some people who would want to ask you questions, agree with you or disagree. But maybe I can just give something that in case you disagree with these two gentlemen or myself, let us disagree with respect and remain civil, then so that we can be able to discuss. If you have to add value, please do now. And the numbers are going to be on your screen there. And make it brief, precise, and concise. I have a call online. Hello. I'm going to... oh, no. That is not sounding good. I'm going to try and take another call online. I have a call online. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening, sir. What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm called Livingston Akukizibwe. I am a Kampala, Kampala.
Okay, go right ahead. Agizibwe, tell us your question. Ask your question or tell us what you have to say tonight.
What I need to add on what the Honorable Dev said, we need to believe that President Seven no longer believes in the structures of the NRM, and now he's trying to appoint other people he feels like can be able to deliver for him. Because in my own understanding,
yes,
if President Seven valued the structures, he would have united the likes of Kata Nusafira and Nyakana come together and make run the party very well. But then when you see how Kata and Nusafira comes out to discredit the likes of Nyakana, they straight to her because she's a senior. But you see the Nyakanas have stayed in this. They have mobilized for President Seven. There's no way Kata Nusafira will come out and discredit them. These are cadres of the NRM. She's supposed to work together with them. Then lastly, when you look at the structures of the NRM from down, even from village level, come to sub-county, come to district, these people are not, they are not functioning at all. These people are used during campaigns.
Election-based structures.
Yes, so they are election-based structures like the way Honorable Venko is saying.
Okay.
So President David doesn't believe into the structures of the NRM 100%. He would have connected Nyakanas and Katan to come and work together to mobilize for the party.
All right,
Thank you
Mr.
so much.
Mr. Gizibo, where are you calling?
I'm Livingston from Kabadi.
You're calling from Kagadi, Livingston at Gizibo. Thank you very much. Okay, let me try to get another caller online, and then we can have my panelists respond because we have a few minutes remaining. So I'll take a call online. Hello. Oh, sorry about that. Maybe you could try again and then. Hello? Hello? Okay, I'm not going to get tired of trying to give a word of advice. You turn down, you don't turn up the volume of your TV set if it goes through, because in that way you'll avoid sending an echo to us and to yourself. So I'm going to try again, take a call online. Hello? Hello?
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. What's your name and where are you calling from?
How are you?
I'm calling from Manapa.
And your name, sir?
This Sunny. I'm called Morombo Seti.
Morombo.
Yes.
You're on air, Mr. Morombo.
I'm calling from Manapa.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, Mr. Kamara, NRM is just a party full of... Yes, thank you, Mr. Kamara. Yes, Mr. Kamara.
Yes, go ahead.
Opportunists.
Okay.
The party is full of opportunists. Hello? So, if we have brothers like Comrade, if we have a brother like Comrade, Honorable Sereko, who have come out openly, to give out their views concerning the next generation.
Can you just give one coherent statement without listening to yourself, Mr. Marombo in Manafa? The problem is that you are listening to your own echo and it was confusing you, and yet you had I suppose you had good ideas to put across. Unfortunately, we can't continue with that conversation, but let's try to get another person, maybe two more, and then we'll end it at that. I have a call online. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening, sir. What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm called Kavuma Brian from Kampala.
Kavuma Brian, you're on air.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like the way Honorable Montero brought up this issue.
Okay.
And also, Nyakana, I can't refrain that the way he tackles issues is like he's playing a program, like the program to just talk about only NRM. They don't mind about the issues affecting the masses.
Is that what you get when you hear from him? That's what you...
From that chat, exactly. And also help us talk about the issue of Indians. Like how they want to get it to be put in the parliament.
Mm-hmm. To be among the tribes of Uganda.
Exactly.
Yes.
But he wants us to talk about it.
Okay, you want to hear what maybe the response from these two. Okay, I'm going to take the last call online because it's just an issue of time. It's not that I didn't want you to speak. So I'll take the one who is on right now. Hello. Hello. I didn't.
Hello.
Yes, good evening, sir. What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Tororo, Nyakana, enjoying people.
You're calling from Taroro and you want Nyakana to join People Power. Okay. He thinks that's a safe bet for you. Eh? Okay. Thank you very much. We've had a caller from Kagadi, from Manafa, from Tororo, and from all the Kampala. So we thank you, Kampala, you're watching, and Uganda, you're watching, and that's interesting to hear. Okay.
I would like to say, to address all the comrades that I understand all your concerns, and of course, we'll put everything in consideration. From Manafa to Kagadi, like we all said, I mean, electioneering structures that you want active during elections. Because I was one time chatting with one of my colleagues and I told them, NRM is the only party in Africa that has been in office for the last 33 years without reasonable headquarters or even regional offices. And it promises to build the country when it enjoys a big base, has even collected money to the tune of over 33 billion to build a 27-story building with a plot of land opposite.
Where's the towers?
I think it's opposite this Kingdom Mall or building or plaza. And not even a truck of sand has been poured there for the last 33 years. And these are the questions they should be asking. I mean, if a party can do disservice to its own members and itself, then what of to the people of the country? And we are not saying that the members are bad. We are only saying that if SEC is called regularly for SEC members to discuss such matters, so that the party is not fused with the state, so that the party is functional. In growth of democracy, mainly multi-party democracy, we want to see parties exist beyond even their own governments. You saw it in France.
Beyond the founders.
Yes. You know, Francois Hollande was there. Today he's not there, but he's running his party. Jeremy Corbyn, the head of the Labour Party, you know. It's not in office, but you can see some semblance of growth. So it is a very big disservice when Uganda tear gas and humiliate people like this. What society are you grooming? That when we disagree, the one who has the might does not use reason, but uses force to annihilate the others. Then the issue of
wanted to have the Asian people to have become a tribe in Uganda.
No. I posted about that. Not Asians. I'm saying Indians cannot be a tribe in Uganda. Absolutely no. And let me look right down in that set. Fellow Ugandans, and Indians that are outside there, you can be Ugandans if you wish to be, because you can be naturalized. But you cannot be a tribe in Uganda, because you are already a nation. From India, where you're born, what qualifies you to become a tribe is simple. India alone has over 360 tribes. So you belong to a particular tribe in India. We cannot do the same mistake.
But they can be citizens of Uganda.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You are amazing citizens. You are our brothers. You've been integrated. You can even choose a tribe in Uganda to belong to, and the tribe will integrate you. For example, I know Indians like Rajin Taylor, who are Mwami wa Kabaka, who are representatives of the Kabaka of Uganda, and even ministers serving within the Uganda government. So, if the country has already been kind and good to everyone, that you can come to Uganda, integrate. By the way, Uganda has been, and Ugandans have been very good people, because Uganda is, I think, the third biggest host of refugees in the entire world.
Anyway,
Therefore, integration of people here has been simple. So if you integrate with society,
you enjoy all the rights. You enjoy all the rights. You enjoy
to let you enjoy all the rights. Now,
yeah,
I can tell you that me as a representative of the people of Kampala, I can say you can be naturalized to become Ugandan citizens, for those that do not have criminal records, for those that are working well and are integrated in the Ugandan society. You know the path for being Ugandan, but you cannot become a tribe, because the formation of this nation, Uganda, was founded on the original tribes, on the original peoples, just like Ugandans. However big the numbers we have in India.
We are also a nation of immigrants, only that we came many years ago.
Just a second. No one can dream that in India, the Ugandans, 10,000 that are there, can even apply to be a tribe, leave alone to even run for any position there.
Okay, and your parting shot, your concluding remark?
My concluding remark, ladies and gentlemen, is that comrade from Tororo asked Comrade Nyakana whether he can join People Power. And I can tell you this, we shall work together with every single person, with every single force, with a shared vision. Whosoever leads the struggle today is welcome. If we all agree on Honorable Chagulanyi, or Honorable Besigye, or Honorable Muntu, then we shall follow that one. But if the momentum, like it is, and absolutely the momentum as it is now, the tailwinds are swinging behind Comrade Chagulanyi, an individual I've sung with, I've grown with, I interact with, and I really like him as a person. If we agree on the strategy and the language to speak, I'll be here speaking for People Power.
Honorable Godfrey Nyakana, your parting shot, and somebody was trying to recruit you.
I want to thank Akuguziwe for his good guidance on the party issues. We have challenges, yes, truly, in the party issues of NRM, and we shall soon have a SEC meeting and discuss these issues pertinently to ensure that we fast-track the process. People could have lost interest in some areas. But also, someone said I should join People Power. I'm privileged to be a friend of Bobby Wine. He's actually, I'll call him my young brother. His brother, Fred Nyanzi, I was his boxing coach in Kola High School. I know the parents, I know the sister, she was my secretary at my office, called Cafe. I think, yes, I think that...
you are in a good position.
Bobby Wine is a young man that I know, and I guide him a lot for many years, even before the politics came into play. And I think it's a bit early for him, personally. And I think he needs some more time and more experience, especially in Parliament and stuff, so that by the time he thinks of becoming a president of Uganda, he would be not seasonal but seasoned, to ensure that we develop this country, because this country is a large country, and developing structures of a leadership in this country is not a very easy thing. You can't happen in a minute. So I think he can hang on, and we shall wait and see what will come out of him. And I appreciate him as a friend and stuff, and I think he's good to go, but he needs some time to come. I'm also very concerned about the issue of Indians. In Uganda, whenever we're in SEC, we talk about the local content. No one understands me. Every time I talk about the local content, they say, but we're talking about the economics of Uganda. When you talk about all these issues, you go to India, for example, no one will give you any advantage on their side. They can't even give you citizenship. They can't even give you any document that reflects that you are in India. So I think they can be our brothers, like they've been all our life, and we can work together. As we've been working together, and develop the country as we've been developing together with them. I think the issue of having them become tribesmates is a bit over base.
They can become over Uganda.
Yes.
No problem.
Yes, but they cannot say that they're going to create a tribe of their own in Uganda. I think that would be extremely subjective.
Okay, you said you had what they call a Katalekeka.
I would like, as the Shadow Minister for Security, I would like to tell the officers, police officers doing night patrol and the military officers, that one, even those that are doing their work of security, that the issue of one, arresting people's borders
goods
and taking them and extorting 150,000 from them. It's, I mean,
that's happening.
If you think I'm not speaking the facts, you walk out and ask any of them. It's happening. Please, the IGP and the head of the military, this must stop, because you don't know where this ends. Then walking into people's shops without court orders and taking over their merchandise downtown, and then now in Kisenyi, is not right.
Okay.
Yes, we want security. You remember when we were giving security tips, that go where there is stolen property. But just get a magistrate's court order with a search warrant. Then you take someone's property legally and you register it, and then you present it in court. Do not turn out to be like those rogue enforcement officers of KCCA. You know what happened to them? They went for someone's property, took it. The other time, the woman was there with grasshoppers in Senene, and she had put some
okay, those things we can talk
some drugs in them. When they ate them, because whatever they take, they used to eat. When they ate them, they ended up in hospital because there was some light poison in them. She didn't even resist. When they caught her, she said, "Here is the merchandise." They started eating them on the trucks. Do not fall victim of what happened to the others. So stop indiscriminately arresting people like those people on borders.
Just follow the law.
And matotos, follow the law as it is.
As you do your work.
I want to thank the NTV for giving us this good time, and I hope I'll have more activities with this TV. I think you've done your part. You've done good work across board, and I wish everyone a good night.
Okay. Thank you very much. We're humbled, gentlemen. Thank you very much for giving us your time. We appreciate your time, and we appreciate your insights on the matter, even though you seem to differ on different grounds, but that's what politics is all about. And even us here as the journalists, when we ask these questions and we criticize you, as like the NRM or the opposition or whoever, this does not mean that we hate you.
Yes.
We love our country more. Good night and God bless Uganda.
Okay. What about
You're the champion.